is a huge honor for me to podcast interview Tom Clark, who I just think it's so darn cool. So your dad is PK Clark, and he had 5 boys and a girl, and we're the same age, and I had 4 boys, and it seems like your dad must have been a hell of a role model. Your oldest brother's an oral surgeon, one's a dentist, your sister's a dental assistant, one's working in a dental lab, and the only one that wasn't normal is going to become a Navy SEAL. How damn cool is that?
Yep.
What a hell of a dad. So he must have loved dentistry so much the whole family got turned on to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We grew up, it's so funny, we grew up and he said, you're going to need to work. And so we grew up at 5 a.m. every morning. My mom would take all the kids to his office to clean his office. So we're, changing garbages out. And I used to be the vacuum guy, so I would vacuum up all the diamond burrs, which he wasn't super stoked about. And then we were dental assistants in high school, and then we really just grew up and integrated in the practice. So we loved it. It was awesome.
Oh my God, that sounds like my boys too. And then your dad, he took fighting dental decay so extreme that your little brother decided to become a Navy SEAL. He just confused decay and bad guys. Did your dad call decay bad guys, and your little brother got confused?
He did.
So that's amazing. So you've just exploded. So Tom Clark is founder and CEO of Banyan, formerly Social Dental, a healthcare marketing platform. Tom created the industry's only HIPAA-compliant patient photo and review sharing app to help doctors grow their practices by building trusted relationships with patients. Previously, Tom was president and CEO of WhiteCap Dental Solutions, where he disrupted the dental implant industry's dependence on field sales by selling directly to dentists. Under Tom's leadership, WhiteCap achieved a 3-year growth rate of 625%, hitting number 734 on the Inc. 5000 list of the fastest growing companies. When he's not building business, Tom enjoys spending time with his family and boating. So tell us first the story of the WhiteCap.
Yeah, so I started. So my dad has WhiteCap Institute, and I think you interviewed my dad on a past podcast.
That's right.
And we saw everybody come into his classes, and he was really a pioneer of doing live surgery and bringing people in, and he wanted a reality dentistry environment, and where you could ask questions and just no corporate. And so I saw the opportunity where everyone was getting educated, and then they needed to buy product. And I thought, oh my gosh, instead of having reps from these companies there, imagine if we created almost like a co-op where we could buy in bulk, inventory it ourselves, and then offer it to everybody who's a member of WhiteCap at a discounted rate. And that was the genesis of how WhiteCap started. So they only sell product to people who went to their classes, and it was huge for the doctor to save money, huge for the patient because they're not paying the high price, they could lower their fees. And then huge for WhiteCap because they could offer a value add. So yeah, it was cool.
So your dad still teaches hands-on implant surgery placement in Orem, Utah, right?
Yep, he does in Heber, just up the canyon, and we're based in Orem. So yeah.
And where is Heber and Orem next to Salt Lake? Is that south?
Yep, south of Salt Lake, about 40 minutes south of Salt Lake, just right near Park City.
And Provo's about 90 miles south of Salt Lake?
It's probably about 50 miles south of Salt Lake.
Have you ever driven Salt Lake to Phoenix, where I live?
I have driven it all the way to Kingman, Arizona. I don't think I made it all the way to Phoenix.
Oh my God,
yeah.
That is the coolest drive in the world. Phoenix to Salt Lake, and then all the way up to Winnipeg. I mean, that's just like, that's just God's country. That is the most beautiful deal. So did your dad, were you only selling one type of implant? I mean, one company to get this big volume discount, or were you buying from many implant companies?
Yeah, it started off with a couple different systems, and then the one, right now they buy from Hyacinth, and they were buying in bulk and being acting as almost like a distributor, so that they could have a membership. So yeah, that was, and I don't know if you're familiar with Hyacinth, but they were Korean, and then they come into the U.S. Yeah.
Well, they're a Korean company. You mean they're just selling in the U.S.? The Korean ones were mostly Hyacinth and Megagen, right?
I'm not sure if those two are connected. I know Hyacinth was Korean, and then they may have a separate brand name in Korea. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and Megagen's the other big Korean one, and they Strawman just bought 51% of them. So lot of activity. So
Oh,
so why did you decide to leave this very lucrative implant company where your sales have exploded and all this to go into social media and start Social Dental, which now you just rebranded. Social Dental was just for dental. Now you've rebranded it www.gobanyan.com to do all of healthcare. But what made you leave your massive success in dental implants to go into social media and social marketing?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it was honestly what I kept hearing from our customers. We had almost 2,000 customers, so 2,000 practices around the world with WhiteCap. And what I was hearing was, how do we get more patients? How do we get more implant patients specifically, but also just more patients? And so I began doing that research of like, what are we doing? And everyone was spending money on flyers. Everyone was spending money on, radio ads or billboards or traditional marketing. And I'm like, listen, social media is the word of mouth. Everyone is having that conversation on there. And so I began researching the space, and it came down to a moment where I'm sitting in my dad's institute. He just rebuilt this kid's mouth this kid had been involved in methamphetamine drugs, and his mouth was just rotted out. He became clean, and he wanted to change his life. And so my dad just rebuilt his mouth, and I was there for the final crown seat, right? His final teeth. And I'm in there, and this kid is crying, looking in the mirror. His mom is crying. My dad is crying. My dad's dental assistant's crying. This has been a year journey, and it dawned on me that if we had a way to take video, take pictures, and capture that experience, that's the best way for my dad's brand and for the storytelling to happen to attract new patients. And so the problem with that was HIPAA, right? We can't run a camera in the operatory. We need permission, and we need HIPAA compliance. And I just decided that this is something I want to do. I want every doctor to share their story. And I wanted to ask you about Dentaltown, because you must have had a similar why behind why I did what I did, but for dentists to, connect a community. And, I never chatted with you about that, but that was my goal, was to connect patients, the best patients, to the best professionals. So
that's a romantic story. And explain, it really is a romantic story. I mean, the best companies always start out of a necessity, and, Dentaltown was just real easy. I mean, I would come home from work, and I'd disengage dentistry to be with my 4 boys, and they'd go to bed at 8:30. Then I'd sit there starting to get all worried, like, that root canal, should I have done it 1 appointment or 2? Or I put them on penicillin, should I put them on Keflex? I mean, and you're just all alone. And I just when I saw the internet came out, I just wanted to talk to other dentists. All I wanted was a way to share an x-ray, a photo, and say, hey, Tom, what would you have done? And the need was, the need was amazing. So I love your story about, you named it Banyan after Banyan, after the banyan tree in Maui. I love Maui. So tell them about that story. That's a hell of a name.
Yeah. So what happened was we started growing so fast in dental. I mean, the company, we're only 3 years old, and we were breaking the point where we were having 200 plus dental practices a month joining our service, and we were working with them. And then all of a sudden, we started getting friends of friends that were chiropractors and optometrists and all over the place, and they're using a dental branded app. And I'm like, okay, HIPAA's for any healthcare profession. We need to, broaden. So I went on a trip with my family. I have 4 kids under 5 years old and an amazing wife. If you can imagine, we are a busy home, and we went to Maui. And I'm thinking of a new name. How do I rebrand? And that's so hard to rebrand the company. And we see this tree, and its branches branch out, and they develop new root systems, and it's just tremendous. And I fell in love with the tree before I knew the name. And I went back to the plaque, and I was like, okay, I hope this tree isn't named something really weird, And I went back, and it says Banyan, and I was like, whoa, we gotta do this. Like, this is us branching out and helping people make connections, and it was cool.
So you have 4 children under 5.
4 kids under 5.
I had my 4 boys in 60 months.
Wow.
So are
See?
you so did you have 4 of 4, or are you gonna man up like your dad and go 4 of 6? Are you, is there
You know
two
what?
more? Is there two more in the oven?
My wife is amazing, and she could do it. I got to be man enough to do it. If she says there's a 5th or a 6th, I'm all in. But you know, it's busy.
I'd like to hear your dad's math. All I can tell you is they're about $333,000 a piece, and because I've been on the same accounting software.
Yep.
I've been on the same Peachtree, so I can tell you that pretty well. So now you've rebranded. You wore Social Dental. Now you're GoBanyan.com. Yep. So tell my townies, tell my homies, what exactly does this do? If I went to GoBanyan.com like I'm on now, what am I going to find? What do you do? What does it cost? This is Dentistry Uncensored. Get to the details. What does it cost? What does it do? What's the return on investment? How does it work?
Totally. So here's the thing. I think there's a huge trust deficit between potential patients seeing what a practice is, who the doctor is, what are his skills, what's the environment, what's the culture. There's a trust deficit there when people are searching. So what's happening, in my opinion, and I think this would resonate, is whether it's an oral surgeon, whether it's a general dentist giving a referral about an oral surgeon, patients are Googling people's names, right? And when they Google, even if I said, hey, go to Dr. Smith, he's amazing. If I go online, I'm looking at Google reviews, I'm looking at Yelp reviews, I'm looking at Facebook reviews, I'm looking at their website, and I'm looking at their website saying, is there real photos of patients, real photos of the team, real photos, or is it a bunch of stock content that's trying to pitch me, and what's my experience? And so what we try to do is build as much transparency and trust and try to make the experience when I'm in your office the same as when I get to meet you online. Because honestly, people will meet you for the first time online before they ever meet you in person or in the operating room. And so what we offer is a social media solution. We give every office an iPad. On that iPad, it has our Banyan app that lets you take photos or record testimonials in real time, get a HIPAA-compliant signature, and then publish that to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram in seconds. And it's all contained. So you can capture real-time experiences. And then that app also is texting patients after their appointments to get reviews. And then we just acquired a website company, and we've integrated that website company into our service so that we can take real photos and have them go to the website automatically. So your website's always getting updated for Google. And then we just clean up your listings and make sure, because sometimes if you bring an associate on or you move locations or whatever, people can Google your name and you show up in 10 different locations, and we make that all into one. So that's everything.
Okay, so your dad and I are in our 50s, and you're 29, right? So, but when you're talking about all this stuff, is this basically for younger patients? I mean, under 35. I mean, for instance, like, has your dad ever gone to Yelp? Tell me the god-awful truth.
I bet when he's eating seafood, he goes to Yelp.
But do you have data on that? I mean, what's the date on this? Is this moms under 30, moms under 35? I mean, certainly it's not grandma.
Yeah, no, there's a really good stat. Harvard does these studies, right? So ages 50 to 64, when they're doing research, or plus that, right? Because some of my dad does implants only, fee for service, right? And when he's doing marketing, and we work with him, and we drive a lot of his new patients through Facebook. And what I've learned through that experience is it's not the patient doing the research. 80% of the time, it's the kids of the patient. And they're on there doing research for their parents. Who's the best? What's everybody saying? Let me ask my Facebook friends. Don't spend all this money until we get all these people checking it out. That's where social media plays a really big role. So I look at, implantologists, specialists. The guys who think they're excluded from this are probably the people who are missing out on the largest market share, because it's not obvious market share. But there's a lot of research being done on, do I go to Clear Choice and go to this big implant center, or do I go to Dr. So-and-so who has the best reviews locally? Does that make sense that way?
Yeah, it does. Is your dad, now your oldest brother, Paul's an oral surgeon, but PK, is he a general dentist, or would you call him an implantologist, or?
He's a general dentist that is an implantologist. He's done, he places a couple thousand implants a year. He trains on it. I mean, he's...
Now, you know what his best marketing would be, and I've told him forever?
Yeah.
Create an online CE course for Dentaltown.
I know. You know what? I'm going to make a commitment. I'm going to tell him, look what I'm doing. Let's do this thing, PK. And I got it. He's just... he's doing this WhiteCap adventure series. He's going out on his motor yacht and doing all this stuff now. I think, and actually our video team's engaged with them, but we need to do that. Let's work together and make that happen.
On that Dentaltown app, we put up 360 courses. They've been viewed 600,000 times. 600,000. So it's a big stretch from a dentist to read an article about your father, and then the next thing you know, he's getting on an airplane flying all the way to Utah. But if they were sitting on his iPhone and they watched an hour lecture or a 2-hour lecture or a 3-hour lecture, then they'd fall in love with him like I fell in love with him, and then they'd say, wow, I like that guy. He's really smart. Now I'm going to get on an airplane.
Absolutely. You got to build trust for credibility.
Yeah, and it's hard to go from an ad in a Dentaltown magazine to I'm getting on an airplane and flying to Utah. You know what I mean? That was my next question. Is some people are saying that that Google and Yelp reviews, their days are numbered because you're just reading a text, but video reviews are huge because when you're reading a review, I mean look at the Thanksgiving table at a Farran family Thanksgiving. I mean, I got aunts and sisters that are completely batshit crazy, and if you could see them saying their opinion, you wouldn't even be listening to the word. You'd be saying, "Well, she's nuts." Okay, but in text or print, you don't have all the context. Like, is this some crazy lady, or is this So everybody's that I'm reading is that testimonials are so much more effective if they can see the person. Do you agree with that? Video is more than text.
I totally agree with that. And I would say there's varying degrees of videos, right? If the person looks staged and they look fake and they look robotic, that I really struggle with that selling authenticity to me, right? Because what you're trying to sell in that testimonial is they're real and they're authentic, right? And this is why social media is having such a rise right now and contributing to so many new patients and so many benefits in the practice is makes you real. Right? You can't hide behind a pre-crafted, amazing ad and you're not attracting, I would say this too, there's above the bar and below the bar patients. My dad talks about this a lot, where above the bar patients refer friends, below the bar patients generally are not appreciative and they're in a different category. But if you had all your appreciative patients, I mean, they have friends that are appreciative. If we were to have them post a picture on one of the most effective things my wife ever did. She loves her OBGYN. She's an amazing doctor. We took a picture with our new baby with that doctor. My wife posted it on her Instagram, and there's already 5 people that came as referrals shortly after just a photo. And so what's happening today is, and you see it on Dentaltown, photos have influence, and then the comments have a lot of influence. Google reviews do have a lot of influence, and Yelp reviews do too. But you're right, it's broadening, right? 5-star reviews are really great, and that's really important, but you also need social engagement. If I went to someone's Facebook page and they haven't posted for 2 years, or they've posted every day 9 times and no one's liking their photos, there's a problem. And so that's kind of how we position ourselves is, how do you get real online and, build a presence that looks authentic, looks like the conversation's around you.
Right. So, and by the way, when you talk about when it looks staged as fake, the most common feedback I get on my YouTube videos is, are you on human growth hormone? Are you on testosterone? Or do you have makeup? Is that fake? And I just want to say I am totally natural. This is all natural. And I'm wearing my scrubs because, as you know, I was late from the dental office. I ran home and did this, but I was doing a root canal, and it but anyway, it took a little longer. But anyway, I am all natural. If you could only smell me, you'd know. I want to go over something else. One thing that gets overwhelming for dentists is okay, so like when I was in dental school, I lived with 5 guys, right? And None of them are on the internet. You know, they don't do it. So some of the older guys, you know, they're trying to get on the internet. They're trying to do all these things, but you list Google and Yelp and YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. How many social media platforms does a competitive dental office growing have to be engaged in? Because I think there's like what, 40?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many.
Name the ones that are a must that you'd have to be having an account with and work.
Yeah, and I will tell you this too. The dentist doesn't need to be involved in social media. You don't need to be involved in social media, but your practice does need to be, because if you look in the waiting room and patients are on their phone, and then you go to the operatory and you're trying to give an injection and someone's trying to take a selfie, and you recognize that that's where patients are, that's why you need to be on there. As far as what's most important right now, Facebook is number one. Instagram, which just got bought by Facebook. And actually, Howard, I was going to bring up Ed Zuckerberg, Dr. Zuckerberg. I hung out with him a couple nights ago. We did dinner and we were chatting about you, and that was awesome. He's apparently a good friend of you guys, and
he's an amazing man.
But I loved meeting. I met him and his wife, and
Karen.
I was in our office, yeah, Karen, and we were talking about what we were doing, and they were like, dude, this is why my son started Facebook. Right? It started to connect people, and now the businesses have come in, and if businesses can connect to people, then it's even better. But so Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, those three are really, really powerful. When you talk about reviews, then you can go into, you know, Google and Facebook and Yelp, but those three are huge, and it doesn't take much time to manage those, but you have to have technology that makes it easy. Because if I were to tell my dad, hey, go do Facebook, go do Instagram, I mean, you know, you do what you do best, and then you outsource the rest. And
okay, you know, I want you to talk about your competitors. You're talking about social media, but what about old-fashioned mailing a flyer, yellow pages, a billboard by the highway? How do you weigh the new age social media versus the stuff you and your dad and I grew up on? What were those coupon books that would come to the house that have 100 coupons in them? You know, what about all the old world stuff? Is it dead? Is there still life in there? Is it a different market? What do you think about that?
I think the market's still there. I think that if you step back and look at marketing, we need to say, how do you have a comprehensive marketing plan, right? Which it could be some direct mail. It depends on your demographic, depends on where your office is. But the thing for sure is social has to be there. And the reason for that is conversion rates with direct mail are lowering and lowering and lowering and lowering because the millennials are growing up. They're now having families like me. They're now, when I look, you know, everything that's not a bill in my mailbox, I throw away. Just flat, I throw it away. I don't even look at it. And so I'm using my network that I made online, my friends, to answer questions for me. So if I have questions about where to go, I'm asking them, or I'm seeing where they're going, and that's kind of been my barometer, you know, on what to do. And so there's a place for them for sure. I don't think I would ever be caught saying that direct mail doesn't work or that some of these things don't work. But let me raise another question. You know, having worked with literally, you know, thousands of practices, I asked them, what kind of patients come from direct mail? Are they highly educated? Are they the type that's going to accept treatment? Are they the ones looking for the $29 new patient special, right? And if they're those patients, you probably need some of those that you can develop and turn into long-term relationships. But you also need social media because those patients are friends of friends. So social media patients are the same as referrals. So I think you're getting a higher quality of patient from social media, and I think you're getting them faster. I think they learn to trust you faster. So.
Okay, this is Dentistry Uncensored. You still haven't mentioned anything about price. So you're a volunteer service. This is all pro bono.
It's all free. Yeah, we got 120 employees. I just pay them out of my pocket, and we just hang out here.
Awesome.
No, we're affordable. We're $350 a month, and then you pay for the iPad. And if you have an iPad already, we can load the app and do that. We really like having a dedicated device like an iPad. I don't know if people are cheering behind me. something good happened in the office, I guess. And
what happened?
I don't know what's going on.
Find out.
Are you hearing this?
Yeah. What happened?
I don't know.
Let me
look here.
You know what it was? I just followed you at banyansocial.com, and I just retweeted. I just retweeted your tweet.
That's what it was.
To my 17,000 followers on Twitter, and they're all screaming in the background.
I love that. In fact, I just lost you. Let me pull you up on here too. Oh, here you are. Okay, so I don't know. Everyone's kind of, you see we just moved into a new office, but so $350 a month. Here's the thing, as far as ROI, people spend $5,000 a month on direct mailers, and you get a varying quality of patients. But our average practice depends on what it is, and it depends if it's specialty or not. But on average, you're getting 5 to 6 new patients a month, and you're getting inquiries, and the time it takes is not that long. You're taking 3 or 4 photos a week, and then we're generating better reviews, which is getting you more phone calls. So the whole thing, it's pretty cool.
So it's $350 a month, and your average doctor, you think, is getting 5 to 6 new patients a month?
So when we interviewed our doctors that follow our protocol, so if you're posting 3 times a week, you're using our campaigns and signs and all these different things. When we baseline their office of new patients last year to this year, that was the trend that we saw. And of course, it's hard to quantify new patients coming into the office. This is a good discussion right now, because what happens is your front office, they'll say, "Hey, did you find us online?" And they'll say, "Yeah." And then they move on with the conversation. Instead of saying, did you find us through Facebook? Did you find us through a Yelp review? And so I would encourage all your listeners, put a better process in place to get really granular on where the buckets, because online should be 4 or 5 different buckets, and analyze that conversation when you're tracking it. Because I think that does get skewed, right? So.
Yeah, it's Mark, Fred Doyle, my buddy with 1-800-Dentist, he wrote that book, Marketing is Everything. And it's so sad because you go to school for 8 years of college, and you get A's in math and physics and calculus, and you didn't get anything on marketing, you didn't get anything on accounting, nothing in payroll, nothing in overhead, none of everything you need to know. Some of the other things in the news, I'm on the Dentaltown app, and I'm on under marketing, I'm under social media. Some people are asking about Snapchat. Is that what is Snapchat, and is that something you have to add to your portfolio of marketing?
I would say there's a very few very sophisticated dentists that should be using Snapchat. And the reason I say that is Snapchat is where you post it and it's live for 24 hours. You're constantly having to update it. It is very, very involved. And I'd be hesitant. I would never get on the stage and say, "Hey, down Snapchat, that's going to, be your big thing." But as soon as Snapchat builds a platform to do advertising and things get a little stickier, we'll be the first to jump on that, right?
Yeah. Another person asked, what is more important on social media? Trying to get new patients or reputation management? What would you say to that?
I think you want to accomplish both, but I think reputation management it depends on the practice, right? Reputation management is a really big deal. Here's one thing that's missing is nurturing your patient base. There's one thing to look at a patient and say, "I want to take your photo," and they're like, "Oh, okay, that's kind of weird," or "I want a video from you." It's another thing to say, "Can we get a picture together?" And you're posting content, you're letting patients tell your story, online. So reputation's huge, nurturing your patient base. Some patients don't know that your doctor just completed an implant course or went to a dental or got, bought CIRAC, and now we do in-house milling, or, they don't know these messages. And so social media can be a platform to give real-time updates to those things, to build your reputation that you're improving, you're doing great. I would also say, it's huge for new patients too. So I don't know. I think you accomplish both moving forward.
Another thing, these kids are just coming out of school, and Utah just got its first dental school, did it? Or did it get 2?
I think there's 2. I think there's one at the University of Utah, and I think there's Roseman. One hour ago, I just spoke at Roseman.
And where's Roseman? And by Salt Lake? Is it in South? Is it in South Jordan?
South Jordan, yeah. I just got back speaking to all the classes right there just about an hour ago.
And so Roseman's in South Jordan, and the other one's in University of Utah?
I think so, if I'm right.
Is that Salt Lake?
That's in Salt Lake, yep.
Okay, because BYU's in Provo, right?
BYU's in Provo. And BYU's playing Arizona this Saturday.
I know, and all my Utah dentist friends are coming in. I get to go to dinner with Scott Dahlquist. I'm so excited. The Utah boys are very into that. But
the Cougars.
So tell me this. You're into marketing. Some companies are saying that consumers are looking for same-day crowns. Some are saying that they're looking for sleep apnea, snore device,
right.
Invisalign. And these two dental schools, 2 months ago, 6,000 Americans just got graduated from dental school, and they don't learn any of the advanced. In dental school, you learn, like in football, it'd just be a block, a tackle, a pass,
right.
reception. All they're learning is fillings, cleaning exams, x-rays. So what is your assessment of online marketing, searchability? What are the hot topics? Put them in order. If there were same-day crowns, sleep apnea, snoring, Invisalign, implants, what else am I missing? Short-term ortho, but that would be kind of Invisalign. What are the buzzwords that work in marketing? I mean, what's the sexiest, highest return on investment keyword ads in dentistry from the consumer's perspective?
Yeah, I think from the consumer perspective, dental implants is super hot because everybody's. I mean, you got Clear Choice, you got all the implant companies, you got everybody educating on dental implants, and so I think that's a big buzzword right now, right? And I think they want to know if their doctor does implants or not, but I don't think the average consumer knows what an implant is. I think the average consumer may think an implant is a crown. They don't know, you know what I mean? They don't know that that's the root, and there's an abutment, and there's a crown, and like. So I think keywords, if you go to, there's a cool search thing called Google Trends, and if you go to Google Trends and type in dental implants, you'll see the search history over.
So you go to www.googletrends.com?
Actually, just type in Google Trends. I'll do it right now. Let's see if we can. Yeah, go to google.com/trends.
Google.com.
If I click on that, //trends.
Okay.
If I type in dental implants right now, I'm looking at this. This is interesting. So if you look at it from, I'm going to take, how far back do I look here? I go far back as I want. You can see the steady increase, and you can see geography where it is that people are searching. And so, I mean, it's interesting to see that peak.
So then you would need to look up each one of those search terms that you're looking at. You'd have to go back and do it for, okay, so I just typed in Google.com trends. That says stories trending now. So then you go to the search, the little, and then type in
search bot.
Did you put in dental implants or implants?
I did both, and it seemed to be pretty much the same. You could also type in. I'm going to type in Invisalign. And so what you can do, this is a great way. I mean, this is kind of a trick, right? Most marketing companies, and to look from 2004 doesn't make sense. I would look the past 12 months. I would look the past 12 months and look at it. I mean, you look at Invisalign, or you look at, and it's crazy to see. And so as a marketer, you use tools like this to figure out what's working in dental, what's hot and what's not. Because at the end of the day, you want to be talking about what's trending. Now, the way this is different with us, we have an insights team. We also have thousands of practices that use us. So we have a knowledge base to know what is working and what's not working. I mean, it's kind of like, being a dentist for 30 years or being a dentist for 1 year. There's certain tribal knowledge that you gain by being in the space and learning. And so I would say on social media, the biggest thing is showing your office off, showing your technology off, and showing your team off. Like, most people see your building on the outside, but if you could get some really cool shots about, this is where we do, whatever. This is our, dental assistant or a hygienist who's been with us for 10 years, or this is the doctor's family. People engage a lot with that stuff where the more real you can be, the way, way better, way more engagement.
Okay, more questions. How do you take down a bad review?
So majority of the time, you can't do anything with a bad review unless it's malicious or, it violates policies of the page. Here's the best thing. You can bury that bad review with hundreds of good reviews. And I think that's the difference is we live in an organic environment, right? Where here's the problem. The tendency is our worst patients will leave the worst reviews, and they'll do it the most of the time. And so what you have to do, and this is why I started this company, is let's take the best patients at the time when they're having the best experience and get the best reviews and drown out all the bad ones, So
I've had so many bad reviews, I'm now banned from Match.com, Plenty of Fish, and eHarmony. I'm going to have to change.
You got to get on Farmers.
I'm going to have to change my... Okay, another one says, should you answer a negative review? So if you go in there and say something you didn't like, my dentist, blah, should you engage them or just, some people say if you stir shit, it makes it stink. Other people say, no, it means something to address it. They see that, okay, you're responding.
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. The only exception I would ever have, normally I would say stay away from it and let it be organic. The only one exception, and this has been in recent weeks that I felt this way after talking to clients, is they've discovered that there are people leaving bad reviews on their page that are not patients of record and never have been patients of record. And so they're leaving bad reviews about doctors that don't work there, and it's just really weird how they got there. That may be the only exception that you get in there and say, sorry, Matt, according to our records, we don't have any patient of record or whatever, if there's some way that you could go in there and say that. However, you may just stay away from it, focus your efforts on getting a lot of good reviews. And it's hard because it hurts us, and sometimes we can't sleep at night because we don't want our image hurting. But again, that's, you enlist in a service like us that gets you to a point where you're looking the way you want to be looking online.
Okay, so. Another person asked, when you put something up on Facebook, should you boost the post?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Facebook boosting is basically you have so many followers, and there's only a small percentage of your followers that will see your posts. When you tag people in photos, that reaches their followers and your followers. And then when you boosting means put money behind it, you will reach any demographic you want to identify. Remember, Facebook knows how old we are, knows where we live, knows what we like, knows whose friends we are with friends. And so I would recommend putting some money, $5 to $20 or more, behind each post. Cool thing about our service is we include a lot of the boosting. If you want to get really dramatic with it, you can, we could up that. But we have a whole team that manages that boosting for you.
So instead of $350 a month is your basic service, but if someone wants to get more aggressive, they pay more, and you spend the money on boosting Facebook posts and Google AdWords and all that.
Yeah.
Okay. Another.
And we don't mark.
And this is all. So Dentaltown has 217,000 registered dentists, and there's 50 categories. One of them's marketing, and this is under social marketing. Another person saying, what is better, to boost a Facebook post or to create a Facebook ad?
It's two different things. It's hard to say which is better, and it would depend on me evaluating your page and do what we call A/B testing, which means let's run an ad for the same dollar amount, target similar groups, and then let's boost the same photo and target similar groups and discover which one is doing better. So we call that A/B testing. And if A beats out B, then we're never doing B again, and we're always doing A. And then you'll do another A/B test. It's kind of like when you go to the optometrist and it's, is it better now? Is it better now? We want to test that. And so it's hard to give you a blanket response to that. I would say if someone's really trying to do this, I would A/B test and do it as much as you can. I would also say, just have us consult with you and look through what's going on.
What if one of my homies has a question? How can he ask you a question or your company question? What's the best way to ask you a question? Email, phone call? What would you recommend?
Yeah. So, I mean, we're such a big company now. You're welcome to email me. It's tom@gobanyan.com. I will try my best to get through all of those. If you want someone to look at what you're doing and do a consultation that's not sales pitchy, it's not any of this, we want to do the right thing for you, go to gobanyan.com and schedule a demo. And by doing that, that's huge because they'll look through all your sites, they'll do a scan on your office, and you'll spend 15, 20 minutes learning, here's where you're vulnerable, here's where you're not, here's what you're doing good, and, go through that.
So they can email you, tom@gobanyan.com, BANYN.com, or or just go to Banyan. Go to gobanyan.com, right?
Yeah, gobanyan.com. Yep.
Okay. And another person asked, should I respond to a 5-star Google review? If someone leaves you a 5-star, should you respond and say,
yes,
hey, thanks, Tom, that's all, or what do you think?
Absolutely. If you go to our page, on our Google page, we got over 250 reviews, and we respond to all of them because we want to reinforce those good feelings. You can even encourage them to, you can say things like, we wish every patient was like you, you're awesome, and just really involve that conversation. I think that's huge. And I also think they're putting themselves out there, and it really validates them to have you come and reinforce the compliment, and say thanks back.
So now I'm going to throw you under a bridge and get you in all kinds of trouble. What are your thoughts about Yelp? Some people think that Yelp is kind of like if you give them money, your bad reviews are gone and your good ones on top. If you don't give money, what is your honest opinion of Yelp?
My honest opinion, having gone to a lot of marketing conferences and asked that same question, that's an awesome question. My understanding is they have a lot of lawsuits against them right now because basically if you're not paying them, they're going to display whatever review they want to display. And if you're paying them, they're not guaranteeing that they're going to display the reviews that they want to display. And then you can be a member of Yelp or not a member of Yelp. My honest opinion is it's super, super complicated. But right now, you have to play by the rules that they have established. You can't ignore them. Unfortunately, they're big enough that you can't ignore them. That's what's really frustrating. If I had, was within earshot of the Yelp executives, I would love to have a conversation with them on how to make it more simple. It's, they don't play well with others. If I gave them a report card, they don't play well with others.
See, my problem with Yelp is or all this stuff is that I'm 54. All my dental buddy friends are my age. So in my circle, I never see one of my dentist buddies at on Yelp or any of this stuff.
Right.
I don't ever. It doesn't even exist. In my world, and so I think it's hard to understand what they're doing. Same question. What is your thoughts on Angie's List?
I think Angie's List is really powerful. You got to pay. Everything's really controlled and vetted. We don't deal with Angie's List. I don't have a lot of experience there. I would say, if you got a bad review on Angie's List, I think you really got to go through that process. They make their money, from people paying and being a part of the community, and so I would just pay to play, and be a part of that.
Are you talking about Hillary Clinton and her foundation or Angie's List? I'm just kidding. I said it.
No comment.
Yeah. So do you recommend paying for Angie's List? Is that pay to play? Is that a good return, or again, AB, just sign up, do it. If it get new patients, great. If it doesn't, cancel it.
Yeah, I would AB test. This is what I tell people even with our own service. It's like, listen, try us for a year. Look at it, evaluate it. We're going to do everything we can to make it successful because we want you to stay every single year, and that's how we're building our company. But you got to weigh things out. There's things you try that don't work. There's things, and it is what it is. But I don't think Angie's List is very expensive. At least, this is me coming from years ago when I looked into it. So I don't know. I'm probably not an expert on it, to be honest.
Okay, and someone else said, if you had to pick between a Google ad and a Facebook ad, which one would you pick?
right? It depends on what your budget is. So if you remember, Google, you're bidding on keywords and you're guessing what people are searching for. It's a much more involved process. If you're not spending over $1,000, $2,000 plus on Google Ads, I struggle to think that it would be very effective. At the same time, Facebook is ultra effective if you have the right photos and you're targeting it the right way. For me, I would do Facebook. And that's where a lot more people are. Again, the disclaimer is I don't know what city he's in. I haven't done an evaluation. You know, we need to look at that. If you're in a big city, super competitive on Google, I would go Facebook because it's more targeted. You're reaching the people right away.
Okay, back to that list. You said implant dentistry was big, and she just got out of school. She can't afford to learn everything. What would be after implants? Do you think sleep apnea, snoring? Do you think Invisalign, cosmetic dentistry, children, same-day crowns? After implants, what do you think would be the biggest buzz?
Is this a female dentist asking?
Yes.
Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
So the reason that's important is I would advertise female dentist. There's a big trend right now where there's people who want to only go to a female dentist, and that's what they're comfortable with. You could target those words. I would also, one thing, family dentist is really big if she's a general dentist. You know, if she doesn't have, you know, the CEREC machine and didn't do the TMJ class and didn't do the Invisalign certification, family dentist, cosmetic dentist, those things are still working, right? People still look for that. Depends on who you're trying to attract. And I'm not saying that if you're a male, you're at a disadvantage, but you know what I mean? I think people will look for those keywords.
Well, I know the market definitely doesn't want short, fat, old, bald grandpas. I have figured that out so far. Another person asked, where would you go to recommend learning about social media and learning all this? What would be where would you learn? Is there a book you'd read, a video, a movie, what should a kid do if he wanted to really start to learn about all this?
I think the best resource is to learn about your current situation. And honestly, I would look at what's happening, because they only need to know what's important for their practice. And we could study there's majors on social media now, right? I mean, we could study about all this stuff, but I would understand your city. I would look at your patients. I would ask your patients, what social media are they on? When you walk in and they're on their phone, what are you doing? Just kind of poke around, right? Understand what's going on and ask those questions. YouTube has some really good resources. You could do that. Howard, you and I should let's do a social media segment, put it on Dental Town, you know, and we can build something that's, you know, not slanted towards Banyan or anything like that. It's just pure doctrine.
I just did a search for socialdental.com. Have you ever done that on Dental Town? It pulls up a ton of threads. I just put in social dental. Was that one word or two?
Social dental is two words, but people may be using it as one word.
Yeah, I put in social dental, my gosh, you can scroll down for 20 minutes about threads talking about social dental.
Great.
But I want to give my own marketing advice. I'm a dentist, you're a social media marketing, but my advice, if you really want to crush it on social media, is to go shoot a lion. Just shoot the shit out of a lion. Shoot them good, shoot them dead. Should you videotape the shooting or just take a still photo?
Dude, that's the best exit strategy too. If you don't want to unwind your practice and you just get it done, shoot a lion, dude.
Do you think you should do like a gorilla riding a lion, shoot them both, or is there a lion riding a zebra? How could you top shooting a lion?
I spent 2 years in Zimbabwe, and I was a missionary there. And man, we have access. If you guys want to go shoot a lion, let's do it.
So Zimbabwe, that used to be what, Rhodesia?
Used to be Rhodesia. Yep.
That used to be Rhodesia, and now then that fell, and then now it's Zimbabwe. What years were you there?
I was there 2005 to 2007.
And did you like it? Did you have fun? What'd you think?
It was awesome. It was awesome. I mean, the country had so much inflation. I remember at one point I had like bags and bags and bags of money just to buy a loaf of bread. I mean, it's kind of an interesting thing, but the people are incredible. The government is interesting.
Yeah, Ryan and I just lectured in Johannesburg and Zimbabwe, and I've been in Tanzania and Ethiopia and Somalia, and my God, when I was in South Africa, I didn't even want to go home. I mean, that is so beautiful, and it's so the people just laugh and giggle, and my God, I can see why Howie Gluckman stays there in Cape Town. That is one special place. So I've been asking a lot of questions, and I'm probably not smart enough to answer all the questions. I only got you for 10 more minutes. What do you? What should I have been asking? Talk to him about what they should do. I mean, like say, they got 8 years of college of math, physics, calculus. Yeah. They learned how to be a fireman. They can put out fires, but you need a fire. You need a patient. Patient flow equals cash flow. That's really what they want. They just want. And I never liked targeting market. Like some of my friends tried to get the rich housewife that wanted to have veneers and all that stuff. Yeah. And I always was most in love with a toothache. I mean, I just wanted a toothache. I didn't care they were rich, poor. I wanted to pull a tooth, do a root canal in the crown. But how do you get more? What if someone said to you, Tommy, I don't care what they have. I just want more bodies walking in the front door so I can fix more problems.
So this is a good thing. So when I sit down with, whether if I'm one-on-one or in a large group speaking at the ADA or wherever, I ask people, why did you go into dentistry? And I just did this at Roseman University with these kids, I said, why are you doing this? Why are you taking 4 years? You're going to go $400,000 in debt? Like, what's the reason? Like, why have you done this? And I think there are a large majority of the industry that they have a purpose, but they haven't discovered the why and what makes them different and what makes them tick. And like my dad's big thing was, I want to treat people, not teeth. He wanted to build amazing relationships. That was a goal of his. And so before you look at marketing about getting more patients, I would say, what's your why? And once we find out what your why is, then we'll know how to position your marketing. If you're a relationship guy, let's do that. If you really want to rebuild mouths, then let's figure out how to do that. If you want to be drill, fill, and bill, and there's only one customer that we don't work with, and that is the people that say, I came into dentistry to make a whole bunch of money, and I don't really care about the relationships, and this is all about money and all about me and whatever. And I mean, there's times where I had to let customers go out of our business because we're not into that. We're in the relationship game. We believe that you're treating people. We believe that's the most noble cause, and that's going to drive all the referrals. And so, you know what I mean? We have to really qualify it. And so, if you want a ton of patients and you have a good heart, I would say define your budget. Meet with your accountant. Talk about what's in there. Define what your budget is. Social media has got to be there. There's just zero question. Whether you use us or whoever, you got to do social media. Look at A/B testing. Make sure you have an awesome website that's mobile friendly, and get a budget to put ads. Running ads. And so it is an investment. But again, remember, it's just like you. You understand, you have to invest money to have a great outcome. Like Dentaltown, I can't imagine the money you've put into Dentaltown, but look at the return. Look at how great of an experience everyone's having. I think for a practice, you got to do that same thing, So
I got you for a couple more minutes. I'm going to hold you till the very end. We never mentioned Twitter.
Okay.
Twitter's a big one, and it just got bought by. No, what did LinkedIn buy? Microsoft bought LinkedIn.
Microsoft bought LinkedIn.
So Microsoft bought LinkedIn. Talk about that. And isn't Twitter like the second largest social media site, or one of them?
I think it's probably the most. It's probably one of the most active, and it probably is the second largest. Instagram may be up there.
So talk about
honestly, Twitter.
Talk about Twitter.
Yeah. I think Twitter's great for an education resource for a dentist to go and scroll through, and you can check trending topics and things. It's not really the best place to get patients, and the reason for that is it's so crowded. And we follow each other on Twitter and everything, and you're way active, posting jokes and doing all this stuff, but you're kind of in a different game because you're running your business, and you got the average busy clinician every day may not be able to pull that off. I would say Twitter is my lowest on priorities to get everybody straight. LinkedIn, I think, is a powerful tool. I've noticed not many people have LinkedIn profiles. I think you should. If you're trying to get an associate, trying to sell your practice, trying to get a good valuation, having LinkedIn looking good and clean and appropriate makes it look really great, especially if most people are selling to DSOs or, you know, they're merging or whatever. I think LinkedIn is a professional environment. You should look professional there.
Okay, now last one. I know you're itching to get out of that chair. Pinterest.
No, I'm hanging out with you.
Pinterest.
I think Pinterest is good. I don't think it's super effective for patients. You know, the reason my wife and majority of females go to Pinterest and to hang out, they're posting crafts, they're posting, you know, different things that they, you know, they enjoy, and people are commenting and things. It's not really the best place, I would say. Honestly, we ventured really hard into Pinterest a couple of years ago. We backed out and we removed it from our app on purpose because we just didn't see a place for it. Right now, you know, maybe if something changes in a year from now or whatever, we may change our stance on that, but I would not tell anybody to go to Pinterest.
But that's you can tell you're an expert marketer because the bottom line is just that's what he's saying. If you can listen to what he's saying A, B. He doesn't say, oh, you should do A and not B. He says you measure. It's just marketing is trying stuff and measuring it and then taking away the money from the stuff that's not working and redeploying it where it's working.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when we do this in our office, right? I mean, it's crazy. You invest $200,000 into a CEREC machine or a 3D cone beam, and we've done very little market research on whether that our practice is going to be wanting to adopt that or whatever, besides it's a really cool tool and we think it will do good, which is good. You should buy those things. But in marketing, I think you got to be willing to put yourself out there and make some investment. Basically do experiments, right? Fund the experiments.
That's where I disagree with the industry. I mean, when these kids say, I want to buy a $100,000 CBCT, I'm like, my God, versus a dental office that says, I'm going to spend $50,000 each year for 2 years marketing, or some guy will say, I'm going to buy a $150,000 CEREC machine for same-day crowns. And I'm like, dude, the market of crowns, when I tell everyone in Utah about a crown, half are going to talk about money. Do you take my insurance? You take my PPO? I don't get paid till Friday. Can you finance it? Care credit? The other half are you going to hurt me? You going to give me a shot? Can you knock me out? Can you? But I would rather someone spend $25. I mean, if you got out of school $350,000 in debt, why don't you spend $35,000 a year marketing for 10 years, as opposed to spending $350,000 by buying a CAD cam, a CBCT, and a laser? What do you think would be a better return on someone walking out of Roseman with $350,000 in debt to turn around on year one and drop $150 on a CEREC, $100 on a CBCT, and $85,000 on a laser, or saying I'm going to spend $35,000 a year for 10 years marketing to get people walking in my office? What do you think would be a better business decision?
Oh, marketing 100%. Because think about it. I'm with you 100%. Think about customer acquisition cost. You know, how much money does it take? Because once you gain it, if you spend all your money for, like you said, the first 5 years, first 10 years or whatever, spend a large amount of your money in your practice, or right now, whenever they decide, in acquiring patients, once you've acquired a critical mass and referrals are organically happening and things are in place, you can scale that off and begin to buy the toys or buy the Escalade for your family or buy the new home or what, you know, whatever it is that you want to do, pay off your student debt, whatever. But the point is, if you don't have patient flow, it doesn't matter what CT scan, what laser, any of the stuff you have in your office. I think we're saying the same exact thing. And be willing to do experiments with marketing. And I mean, that's my joy every day, to work with people who want to do the best they can and don't necessarily know what to do. I mean, that's exciting.
Okay, well, our hour is up, so I have one last question. Would you use an AK-47 or an M16 to shoot that lion?
I think I would use one in each hand if I could.
Look like Rambo? Okay, Tom, seriously, tell your dad that I'm so proud of his boy, Tom Clark. I love your father. Just going through his 5 boys and a daughter. God, he's just the all-American deal. And it was just talking to you. I feel like I'm talking to one of my 4 sons. I'm so proud of you. How you've what'd you say? You're up to 150 employees.
We got about 125 employees.
God dang, that's more than your dad has. That's twice as many as your dad has. How many does your dad have?
He probably only has maybe 30 or 40.
Well, you tell your dad he's been trumped by the Tom. And seriously, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of what you've done. I'm so proud of what your dad's done. I just think everything you're doing is amazing. I hope you go into Dental Town and search Social Dental, because they would love to hear the top dog. Plus, on your whenever you reply, you can't market or spam or whatever in your comments. You're just there to help. But in your signature area, you could write, Tom Clark of GoBanyan.com. Have any questions, email me, Tom@GoBanyan.com. What about a phone number for that place?
Yeah, for our office?
Yeah.
I have no idea. Let me get it for you. 1 second. Can you believe that I don't even have a phone number? One moment, and I'll tell you. I'm looking on my phone. I'm doing what everyone else does to go to the website. What you got, Mimi?
Who is Mimi?
Get Mimi in here.
Because that's the email I got for you, is Mimi@GoBanyan.com. So who's Mimi?
Mimi sets up all of our events. She does when I go and speak.
Have you been dealing with my son, Ryan?
Ryan's the best.
Ryan's the best. Right on. Ryan, how much did you pay Mimi to say that? Big bucks?
None.
Did he send you money on PayPal?
I have our phone number.
All right, what is it?
It's 877-436-0134.
So that was 877-436-0134.
You got it. Yep.
All right, buddy. I think the world of you. Thanks so much for spending an hour today with me and all my homies. And tell your dad.
Thanks, man.
Tell your dad he's the American dream.